Welcome everyone, this is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're focusing on episode 64 entitled, Hanee Sends a Letter to King Mahlon for an Alliance. We're going to get into this regarding Hanee progression as whole story of these short stories is moving towards getting into the overall mixture of understanding the connection from Orion to Mitsrayim and vice versa, and as well as the other galaxies like Pleiadians and so forth. And so Hanee sends this letter. We're going to get into that later about what to expect, but it's going to be more in the sense of really connecting the dots and showing you just how, in depth and intertwined they are with the Mitsrayim, which we call now Egyptians in Egypt. So without further ado, just to kind of go over a couple of things, I do have another podcast show. It's called Surviving Your Journey to a Success. Do check that out. It's about motivating and inspiring people in their work life and personal life. And if you love it, share it. Leave a comment. Talk about what you love about it and not. Do the same with this podcast show as well. If you love it, share it. And thank you so much. I am on YouTube, so do check out. I have MOLIAE on YouTube, youtube.com/MOLIAE. And then I have, of course, Surviving Your Journey, and that's going to be under Nichel Anderson. You should find me. So thank you for that. And you should be able to see, if not by this time that this actually plays out and we're talking, my summer dates for my summer break that I take in June, July, and August, and return back for another season in September. Okay. And without that, let's see. Okay, so we covered that. And then also do check out MOLIAE.com where you can check out some of the merchandise. You can get a t-shirt on one of the brand related short stories that I do, like Atlantis or what have you. So do check that out. We do have like a love collection, and that's basically because MOLIAE deals with love and all that good stuff. And definitely go there and check that out. If you already purchased my book, Mitsrayim, A Memoir of a Past Life in Ancient Egypt, it is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and other bookstores. I do ask if you don't mind to go ahead and leave a review, a positive review. I appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, in a sense, of purchased my book, do that, and you can leave a review on that as well, on that particular bookseller. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into, and definitely our NFTs. I cannot forget that. MOLIAE NFTs. Do go to MOLIAEworld.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, and join our Discord server. Those links are in the description there. Okay. All right. So let's get into this. So the review of the last particular episode, we're going to talk about that so we can kind of get an idea. And that's basically was just a directed clip notes with Mahogany Part 4. That's one of my other short stories. Do go check that out as well. That's dealing with the Harlem Renaissance. And I just kind of talk about that particular episode itself for Part 4 and where the story was progressing with the family, the Sands family that is in New York during the Harlem Renaissance, about the early 1920s. Okay. And if you like that, comment about what you liked about it and what you understood the whole story concept, and let me know. Okay, so that was pretty much last month, because I'm doing now my podcast seasons are monthly because I have a lot of projects going on, and my brand has expanded, which I am going to have a link in there with MOLIAE. I have my own beauty line now, and it's MOLIAE Beauty. It's for men and women. It's for healthy, luxury, healing body oils, and I do cater to with the own men collection, which I call that the king and me, and we always got to motivate our men, y'all, and then our males there. And then of course I have my own queen collection, and I call that Topaz, because I think Topaz, the whole concept of that, the gemstone is just gorgeous, and I think that queens are, especially good ones. And I just kind of tapped into that energy there with the Topaz, and I think it would be just a wonderful expression of my queen collection. Humble with that, and if their beauty is just like a burst of flower. I need to do a podcast about why I named what in my collection. I came with all the names, all the formulas, all the blends, and I need to do a podcast about that, maybe during the summer. But nonetheless, the Topaz basically collections to me is all reinforced of what a queen, what it is. They vary in their own concept of beauty. They know, and they can vibrate on that flower. All right, so let's get into this. So today we're going to talk about Hanee, where he's at. We already know that he had left in the last finale, last season 5. And now we're going to get into the actual story from that, where it's progressing, and we've located he's on this planet Demona in the star constellation of Arcturus. So we're going to get into that today. And if you have any questions, you could definitely email us at info@MOLIAE.com. And whatever purchase that you do with MOLIAE Beauty, I just want to say this right quick, or t-shirts, which I highly recommend and encourage you to do that. It helps the funding project for my dream that I moved up here to Atlanta and to film my book that we're talking about. These MOLIAE stories. These come from Mitsrayim, a memoir of a past life in ancient Egypt. You can get it at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But when you do that and you purchase something from brand, it helps to put into the treasury that is for my movie that I want to do. That's my dream. And to do a feature film, particularly what I'm trying to do here, is going to cost quite a bit. Coins there. And speaking of coins, I will be rolling out officially the contents of that and the breakdown and everything of that and more related to the MOLIAE token. But nonetheless, that's what I wanted to say. So let's go ahead and move forward and get into this episode today, which is episode 64. All right, and next month is my finale, so you gotta stay tuned for that. Tune in and share it for my finale next month. All right, which, you know what, we should go ahead and talk just a little bit about that. I'm very excited, and that is going to be very, I think, entertaining for you. Just like last season, I got a lot of downloads, and I know I'm gonna praying for the best that it will repeat and increase. So next month is going to be my finale. That's episode 65. It's going to be titled King Mahlon Speaks of Disloyalty Before the Gods of Pleiades, and an Orion is born. Ooh, y'all know it. It's going to be good. Okay, so that's going to be my finale next month in May when I wrap up my season before summer, and that's going to be there for you to be able to take a look, and that's going to be on May 22nd. All right, I always end my finale like towards the end of May, and then I take a summer break, turn back in September. So in this podcast, let's go ahead. Let's get started. And let's begin for my season 6, 2022 to 2023, for this week of my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. This week, episode 64, entitled Hanee Sends a Letter to King Mahlon for an Alliance. Opening scene. The town was named Valun on the planet Demona in the star constellation of Arcturus, where now the new home for the General Hanee, at least for now, was busy with other people. Some of them were of his reptilian breed, and some were mixture of other species, even far as on from Saturn, within the galaxy sphere of Tamat. He emerged from his secluded hideaway with his wife and told, both covering their face with hood and cape as they held hands searching for the place to order a certain medicine he wanted and for food. He still had valuable coins that his wife brought with her on the way to help him escape from the new Unkeno Orion Regime. They entered a hut with bright colors on the base of the door and a small window in the middle. The owner nodded after Hanee sent him a sign by hand and motioned them to enter the back entrance. They did and started to exchange the transaction when suddenly a knock was on the door. Hanee very startled and reached for his weapon as his wife stood behind him before he even knew what about to be. It was his younger brother Unkeno. Then Hanee quickly saw his pregnant wife, Vasia. After the shock, they all hugged one another, explaining that they were told by his good friend that they are staying at Unkeno can find him there. Then Unkeno talked about how he learned of Hanee's sudden withdrawal from Orion of his powerful position. Hanee and them quickly sat down, and the store brought them bread and water of their kind, likely. Unkeno even spoke of the big event, with rulers all over galaxies to Orion, of the impending vote of your leaving. him leaving Orion and the mystery reason why, and who will replace Hanee as leader, as the leadership to move forward within the balance of power of Orion. Then Unkeno leaned back and stared seriously and spoke, "My brother, I must speak and say this, for you might not believe it so, but even the great Queen Hagar of Mitsrayim made an appearance to speak who would take your place." And he almost choked on his water, got wide out of interest as he slowly lowered his cup of water. Unkeno continued. Most have no idea of her connection to the ruler Akuni, and she was the only one allowed to speak with him in private of the matter at hand. And he slowly took another bit of his bread, still enormously interested in everything his younger brother was explaining to him. Unkeno continued, "We do not know what those talks or agreements were, but it was about you and the replacement of a leader position on the Council of Unkeno. She left before the official discussion and possible vote to whom it would be, and amidst Unkeno starship, it was commented that King Mahlon was there as well as Queen Hagar's mother." Hanee stopped drinking some of his water. Unkeno continued. It mother as well that was there on the starship, Queen Mother Mami, and her father, Elder Tahi of the Akuni, was there as well. And he interjected, Then the great Akuni brothers were there as well. Wonder Inky was there with them, still behind the shadows in the amendment of the Orion Power of Atlantis. Unkeno nodded as well as he sipped some of his water. Then Unkeno started to tear up when he thought about all of this going on and what major impact to his brother must have been. He spoke of huge changes and impact of his brother after he left, as far as other galaxies, that people are searching for him as they're about to, and to select another person to take his role. And a lot of rulers are afraid of that, of who it would be. Hanee puzzled a bit to the immediate rush, as he knew those that transpired their plan for the Astar of Mitsrayim would want to risk bringing so much attention. Hanee nodded as well. Did not know, but then said something particular, interesting, when Hanee expressed the major intersection of the Astar and Mitsrayim, and not really understanding what is the Astar. That if Hanee knew of this and the powers that be that he was a major leader of influence on the Council of Orion, which was Unkeno, then it was very important. Perhaps that, Unkeno continued to thought, was the reason Hanee abruptly vanished from Orion and is here on this planet. So Unkeno slowly leaned forward, as both their wives was to the other side of the room talking amongst themselves and drinking tea. Unkeno said, "Why don't you intercept their next plan, and you still go after this Astar of Mitsrayim on Tamat, without needing them, and you rise to return to Orion as a new ruler of power? Let them that betray you and Echo," yes, I heard what happened to Echo, by no other than that selfish Natu. Hanee leaned back with the thoughts of his younger brother bouncing around in his head, and as he always Hanee leaned back with the thoughts of his younger brother bouncing around in his mind, and as he always was clever, more so than Hanee remembered as they used to play in the fields back on Orion many sars ago, Hanee took a slow bit of his bread again, still rolling the thoughts into his mind, position of response to the betrayal done to him and his good friend Echo. He looked down for a moment, Hanee did, and then straight back at his brother. Unkeno continued, I can get you access to King Mahlon of Mitsrayim, the ruler of Tamat, in that galaxy for the search of the Astar. For I know of his younger brother, Tahan, for he is here on planet Jamona in the mountains of Adur as the special assignment by the Akuni, and with his wife. And he slowly leaned forward, then back again, wrestling with the thought of the position that his brother is trying to convince him to move forward. Unkeno knew his brother, that he was thinking in thought and logic. Hanee then looked over to his wife that was still speaking with Vasa of her new baby soon to arrive, and wanted the same excitement again for his wife and family to regain the position of family and his role of leadership, but only back on Orion because he loved his home. In Orion, his home life was in Orion, not here. Could it be possible? Would King Mahlon respond? Or would he seek out to find Hanee and finish him off? Hanee then took a slow sip of his water, and then he leaned forward to his brother. And Hanee spoke in his Orion language and said, Gata noa pala pima poa ne e kona kinga ama na ese. Translation: Give me a penna and papas for my message letter to King Mahlon. End scene.